first official NPL podcast. I'm thinking for the first one here, as you'll be able to see, I kind of want to go over each team that I feel have certain needs. You're not going to see everybody's team on all these, and you may only catch the odd team needing maybe one, but these are squads that have a pretty serious need in that category. And now that you're going to have to pay up some moolah, maybe it's a point that you want to address. As well, I'm just going to kind of go over what I'll be using for each type of podcast or video. This will be on YouTube as well if you're not going to watch the video portion of it. But I'll be able to kind of go through different websites. So I just wanted to kind of show you what exactly I'll be using. So the first one would be our NPL league. Just in general, just so that everyone gets the gist of it, here we are, 36 days off from the rookie draft. Knock 7 days off of that, and you've got the NFL draft. From that point, a lot of stuff will change as well with projections of rookies, different players, where they're going to go. But as of right now, we've kind of got a general idea of where some might land. Our divisions are going to stay the same. I don't see why we'd make any difference in them. It seems like there's pretty even strength between the two of them. Draft position, any other trades that are going to come up, you might see some leverages going one way or the other, but it seems like it's fairly even through here. But yeah, this is the basis of where everything's going to be happening, the command central, if you want to call it. The other pieces that I'm looking at using will be based off of YouTube as one. These guys are Dynasty Domain. I highly recommend, if you do not already subscribe to them, give them a shot. Here, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at what they have for rankings, but we're going to talk about that later. Dynasty Domain. Give them a follow. Look at that guy's face. Fantasy footballers. You don't have to pay for it because I pay for it. I'm going to be using this specifically to be going through, as you can see, there's analyzers, there's rankings. They've got a very impressive piece on dynasty teams. As you might have been able to tell from last year, it didn't help me win, but I love being able to look at it, read on it, and share any of the stuff that comes from it. The one that I want to look at, I just found yesterday, was this dynasty life cycle of quarterbacks. This will help seeing that, we have 4 teams here that need to address the quarterback situation. This should help out, or at least give an idea of maybe where to start, what to go after, to maybe how to approach it on draft day. There's so many failures that can happen when you select a quarterback like that it could just sink the team. To assist with this, I'm going to be using keep trade cut. And there is a part on here that you can't get on mobile, but a league overview. So when you enter our league into keep trade cut, all you have to do is take the sleeper league number, which is up on the URL, and then paste it into the league overview. Once you do that, it's going to give you full access to our rankings as teams. And this will give you positional rankings, which will give you an overall one on how we're doing. It will also give you a landscape on age. So just kind of a general idea on how old some teams are. And again, as what I've said to Marface a couple times now this week, and from what I've heard from podcasts, you are not winning a league with 23-year-olds. It's just not going to happen. They're great. They're going to have sparks, but it's the veteran guys that are going to take the ball most of the time. So keep an eye on the age, I guess, is what I would say. In general, it looks like we're pretty good. We all kind of hover around the same space. Youngest 24/7, oldest 27/4. So Not bad. Not bad. And then by position as well for ranking. So this is something, again, we're going to be looking at. As you can see, you'll be able to kind of go through and catch what they feel is the bottom tier for all positions, including draft picks. The draft pick one, they count it as not only where you're positioned in the draft, but also how many picks you have. So as you can see, me, in an embarrassing way, I think I'm sitting at right now maybe, I think what I've got the 10th overall for this year, and then once mine and Marface's 700 trade of the off season is processed, I think I will also have a second for next year and a third, and then just one first for 26. I don't have much. If you compare it to other squads out there, Bulldogs right now, pretty stacked up. I mean, you're looking at a team that's got second overall for this year and is going into next year with still their first, plus like 3 second-round picks. So that's what's going to give you the high leverage on there. And as you look kind of over as well, depending on what team you're on what dot, you can kind of see where we are rank-wise with the other dots through each position. You can see as they kind of light up on there. So very handy. Highly recommend if you're doing some of your own research as well to come on here and take a look. Last but not least, I found this other site, Fantasy Pros, which was also recommended by BenL33. Through this one, I can't find the power rankings that I'm looking for, so maybe I'll upload that in a different way. It's kind of a pie chart on where we are positionally, but I did find this. They call it a cheat sheet. I look at it as more of showing your real positional rankings per player. So I'm able to kind of go through here, and right now I have it set on mine. Cheat sheet, again, I had to log in through the league, and I can see its ranking through each team. But right now, as an example, you can kind of see it has me as Hertz at 3, general consensus, Taylor 5, again, general, and AJ Brown 5. Mixon, you can see 22 there. Get rid of that. He's junk. He's now a Marface, and you can see 2 of 15. So if you look at it, you can kind of already see why I've placed myself on running back hungry team, because I'm sitting here with, even though I have number 5, based off of age and whatever team my other guys are on, it's got them ranked quite a bit lower. Anyone that you see in the green would be a rookie, and that it can be removed as well if that's something that you wouldn't be interested in seeing. But that'll be something as well we'll address, is kind of going through the rookie rankings, because it's all over the place, as you've seen from the little sneak peek on that video. You've got teams in our league that need a quarterback, but is it really the best option to go for with this? It's going to be up to them on draft day. So, as you can now see on the left side, or if you're just listening, QB hungry teams. We're looking at TDs and DDs. I hope I pronounced their name right. It's the main man with the first number 1 rookie pick, and there's eyes on him. Been able to talk to a couple of other GMs, trying to figure out exactly what way he's going to go with that pick. I've tried to communicate with him as well. He's being a little secretive. He could be repping some pink as we go into next year. He could be repping an Ohio State wide receiver. We'll have to figure that one a little bit more. After that, we're looking at the Bartlett Bulldogs. They took over a team that was in a rough spot and have really accumulated a lot of youth and draft picks. We'll have to see which way they go. They're in some pretty big trouble at the quarterback position, but thankfully this is a quarterback heavy draft class, whereas last year they would have been in some trouble. So again, this will be a podcast that will hopefully help out other teams by sharing what they have, the knowledge they have, because not everyone's going to be as close-knit. It gives me more access as the commissioner to be able to talk to everybody. Going through more, we've got Marface. The reason why he's on here, even though he's got 2 starting quarterbacks, is because of the age. The age, and I mean, if you want to really call it, I'd probably say the ability of them. It's a tough mixture. They're a team that could draft a quarterback, the team that doesn't need to draft a quarterback. We'll see what position they go with that. Play action Jackson. They're repping the number, arguably, 3, 4 quarterback in the league with Lamar. After that, though, we're looking at some troublesome areas here. And not with many draft picks, at least high or even for this season. So it'll be something that they do need to look at for sure. Going through the other positions here, running back, it's a position that we've seen was probably traded the most out of any of the other ones. No one can find kind of equal footing on it, even when I think I might be in a good position. It's just showing I'm not. Once again, we put the Bulldogs on there. They were, for 1 week, in a spot where it looked like they could be having 2 starting running backs after having none. And then veteran guys sign on to both of those teams. So now they got themselves into a tough situation on that. But through a little bit of trading, we're able to acquire at least a starting running back out of Denver through Marface. So that does help them out, but it doesn't help out the bench. They still need a solid number 2. Again, something that could be addressed in the draft with how many draft picks they have. In Jigbas in Paris is, just like Denchworth, one of the more interesting teams. They have, I would say, the youngest and, I guess if you want to say, star boy-like teams in the league. A lot of power, a lot of potential. I mean, Denchworth showed it last year going to playoffs. But not a lot of veteran guys on these squads either. And again, like I said earlier, if they're not old, and you gotta have some older guys. You don't have to be like old man Fossil out here, but you gotta have some age to it, because most of the time the number 1 guys on teams are going to be the guys with a little bit of age. That'll lead kind of down into tight end. It was tougher to try and find teams that needed tight end, because for the majority of it, we were actually okay. Like, it looked like most teams were kind of fine. I ended up finding that Herbert and Dench were the 2 squads that didn't even really have a guy in the top 10. They may have youth like Herbert does, good potential tight ends, but it doesn't mean that they have someone that's kind of good there and starting on the coming Sunday, even week 1. It's just not there. Wide receiver hungry teams. There's a reason why that position is 4th on this list, and that's because it is a boatload of wide receivers coming into this year. TD's laughing. He's got the opportunity to pick the best wide receiver in quite a few years at first, and even if not, he's got the 12 and he's got the 01. It's a lot of opportunity there. Generals is a team that is quite set. As you can see, their names only popped up on here once. And again, a time to be needy for a position like this, perfect. Ben, same thing. You might notice there's a couple teams that maybe I didn't notice through here, or at least brought up. One of them would be the champions from last year. So there's not too much that really needs to be addressed if you just won a championship. And as well, there is You Like That. And I found that You Like That was a very leveled team. I don't see anything through any of the charts that I went through already that would show that this is a team that needs anything right now. At ASAP, they look like somebody that's able to compete right away. Last year, they were just riddled with injury, like right away. They were just shotgun, lost 2 starting running backs. And then losing Kirk later on in the season, it was tough. But you put all these guys together healthy, look out. So that's what I'm going with for right now. This is the opening of it. We're going to kind of, I think maybe we'll just go through the quarterback hungry teams right now. And I'll just kind of address through the rankings and the players that they have, what they could use. So we will we'll start off with the most obvious, TDs. TDs is an interesting one to have on this ranking because they do own what even Fantasy Pros or Keep Cut, any of the ones that you can imagine, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Keep Cut has him at number 3. Fantasy Pros has him at number 2. Patty Mahomes ain't a joke. But after that, if we were to hide others, and that's all, I mean, quarterbacks from all the other teams, TDs is sitting there with one quarterback in the top 35, while the other ones are not even really in the room. Mac Jones is looking at a for sure backup position. Desmond Ridder, for sure backup position. And both of these backups that TD has can be moved to the teams that have starters. So it'll be interesting if that is something that's looked at. And then you've got Minshew. The reason why he's at 37, I think, even though he's projected to start right now, it will be based off of his age, 27, 28, and that we know that the Raiders will be most likely picking a quarterback. So will he have the entire year? We don't know. This is a team that has quite a few needs. I'm not able to find out this power ranking problem on here, but if I'm to go through this grading as of today, you've got TDs sitting 1 point above last place. That's with Patrick Mahomes and Pacheco. He's got a couple needs that have to be fulfilled here. If I'm going through Fantasy Pros, the site I'm using here, TDs is ranked number 2 in quarterback. After that, the next best is number 9 at tight end for our league. Every other position is 12th place except for running back 1 at number 10. Now, this is based off your starting lineup as well, I presume. So if he doesn't have Pacheco in there, I'd hope that would bounce up a little bit more. But this just shows how much is really needed for TDs to make a bit of a bounce back here. You've got options. Patrick Mahomes is worth a lot to a team in the playoffs. You can move him over to another squad. Like if you sent him towards let's say maybe a Denchworth, you know how interesting that could be. It's a team that is sitting there. They've got number 11, 20, and 25. So they're banking off of Lawrence as their best quarterback. And then you've got Bryce Young, who is a risky role right now. And you've got Matt Stafford, who is, I think, planning to start again, but we just don't know how long that arm's going to go for, especially at his age, but still a good QB. On top of that, you're seeing him have 2 good starting running backs and 3 wide receivers above. Is this an interesting point here, maybe, looking at how this draft is? Is this a point here that we could see TD's helping Denchworth? Denchworth, again, is one of those teams that's, like, we see down here, this is a young team, 24.7. Young squad. If this was a type of squad here that could even make some kind of adjustment, like, let's just say, for example, if they did move their 7th and 8th overall pick, and that was put towards Mahomes. This is not an exact. I haven't looked into this for sure. If that 7th and 8th pick was moved over to try and help acquire Mahomes, that would be big for both of these teams. TDs ain't winning right now. They've got a young team, but they are not winning. You may not even win in the next 2 years. So you're talking about a quarterback that's 28.5 right now. 2 years from now, a mobile quarterback? But right now, for a team like Denchworth that already made the playoffs and has got multiple guys in the top 15 range here, maybe it's something as well for TD to look at that could be moving Mahomes, but acquiring a guy like Lawrence. Therefore, Denchworth doesn't have to give up both first-round picks, but would still have to include a player. Some ideas there. Will something like that happen? I'm not too sure. TD could look at it like this. He could go, I've got Mahomes. I've got the 12. And I've got the 201. I could keep Mahomes, draft Harrison Jr., and then pick up a later quarterback, one of the later rookies, and then add with the 201 something into this running back room to give Pacheco a little bit of backup. Because even if you look here, like, I mean, some of these quarterbacks are going to be showing up later at the 212. At the 112 are going to be nice. Like, you're talking like Mays in that area. They've got Daniel kind of lower. I think he's supposed to be a little bit higher than that. J.J. McCarthy, Penix Jr., Bo Nix. Like, these are some good quarterbacks, and they don't need to be picked too high, I don't think. We're sitting at a spot where you've got 4 out of 12 teams that need quarterback help. So I'm curious on how many take advantage on getting themselves good wide receivers. A guy like Malik Neighbors is crazy. Somebody should be going after him for sure instead of trying to gain some kind of rookie backing on a quarterback that they don't really need. So we'll see which GMs kind of take advantage of that. The next one I wanted to kind of take a peek at here was the old Bulldogs. And I'll put them in comparison with TDs for this one. Bulldogs put themselves into a different kind of situation than what TDs are, if you kind of get a viewing on this. Bulldogs are sitting dead last for quarterback. But when it comes to the wide receiver position, number 5 on keep cut. I think even higher than 5. The reason at 5 right now is because of the youth on there. But you're looking at Drake London, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Deontay Johnson for right now. And then for youth as well in the back, Jahan Dotson, Mingo, Bateman, Bell. One of the most stacked teams on wide receiver. These may not be guys that are going to come in with crazy, let's just say like Justin Jefferson numbers. They have a chance. Drake London has a chance. Collins has a chance. Del May. But these are going to be dudes with some major upside. When you're talking about rebuilding in a position that really matters on a 0.5 league, this is where it's at. Very impressive for that. Running back, he made a big jump by acquiring Javonte. Puts him to 15th, while still holding on to Brian Robinson. They're talking about a 50-50 split there with Eckler. Dylan's an interesting one re-signing there. Maybe we see something happen between play action and Bulldogs on whether or not Dylan is going to be still on the Bulldogs by draft or on draft day. Quarterback, though. To acquire Drake London, he had to give up Tua Tagovailoa. There was risk in it, and it was a trade that took a week and a half to get done. It was a tough one, but knowing that you're able to get a wide receiver that was having the quarterback that Justin Jefferson built his career on throwing to him for at least the next 3 to 4 years, and also be 4 years younger, is a big move for the position that his team is in right now. And that's, again, something that TD may look at in this kind of position. Tua is 2 years younger than Mahomes, but is also with a shattered hip and noodles for brains because they've been mashed up. A team like myself, a veteran team, one that is sitting in a winning position, which is one that TDs could be looking at inquiring to for a deal, would love to take on a guy like that. I'm set now, right? But who wouldn't like some Patty Mahomes if you're in a winning position? If you've got the facilities for it. You can turn a whole team around with doing a trade like that. And right there, this kind of trade that he did, these past 2 trades, Javonte, Dell in London, a complete overhaul of these 2 positions. Now he's sitting in a spot where his running back room is looking a lot better. His wide receiver room is one of the most impressive ones that we've got in the league. The quarterback room is hurting, though. But you're at the 2.02. So he's got different options he can kind of pull off here. Either you're looking at someone that's going to move the 2.02 and try and get another star quarterback in there. He can draft a quarterback at 2.02, which, depending on what TD does, could be risky. We will know more as we get closer to the draft. Or he can try and acquire another wide receiver. Maybe that's Harrison Jr., maybe that's Malik Neighbors, and move, from what we've heard from league rumors, one of the Houston wide receivers he has. Both are young. Both are stars. 19 and 23 on Fantasy Pro rankings. I think like 15 and around 19 or 20 on Keep Cut. Someone would be interested in getting one of those guys and could for another quarterback. He's screwed for the season right now. Unless something happens to Russell Wilson, he needs to acquire a quarterback. If there's a team out there fishing, this is the guy to talk to. This is the guy to talk to for a quarterback. The next 2 teams we're looking at are kind of in different situations and scenarios because they're not left off as bad. It's a little different for them. But they're also in interesting spots in general for rankings overall. In rankings overall, you've got play action at 10, Marface at 8. Play action's at 7 for quarterback. Marface is 11 for quarterback. That's leaving him somehow even worse too as well than TD's, who only has one good QB. Now, even though that's on there, he does have 2 starting quarterbacks though. So you're looking at Dak and Carr, with Jacoby most likely getting at least a starting gig, and Sam Howell most likely taking over maybe in a year or two. Carr's situation, he's getting paid a lot of money. He's got good wide receivers. He's got good running backs. I'm a fangirl. I like him. But he did not perform that great last year. He's also older. I mean, you're talking about a dude that's 33 years old now. You know, it's not... This guy ain't young. He restructured his contract. So after only 1 year. So we're going to have to see kind of what happens with the team on there. Dak as well, 30 years old, and also restructured his contract. Even though here apparently they're saying no indication on a new deal. It's just based off of age for the ranking, I think. There's nothing more than that. You might see something like Jake Browning doesn't really hold too much value at this moment because he's not, is Joe Burrow's there. What are you going to do? Jake Browning ain't taking the job from Joe Burrow. And Trey Lance, the upside is there. I mean, he can do something, but I don't know when. And he should get another chance, but when will that happen? Play action is sitting with their superstar guy, Lamar. Number 4, killer. Guy's got all the weapons in the world. Just added a new running back in there that's not going to take anything away from him. Sweet for the wide receiver room. I think they could add even more during the draft day, which is something as well maybe that play action could do, looking over at the wide receiver area there. But again, we're trying to focus more on quarterback here. After that, he's got Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had an unreal year last year. He did great. But again, a lot of these rankings, especially Dynasty, are going to focus on this number right here. Age. It's tough. He's not even signed for that long. He's got Justin Fields on his ass. It's going to be interesting to see how that kind of unfolds for him. I think he's got an opportunity to do well. He doesn't have great wide receivers there, so they need to add as well to that. I mean, you can't just be walking around with what was that one dude's name, Austin Cedric or something? You got to get some meat in there. So I expect Pittsburgh to get a new wide receiver, especially holding on to Fields. Will we see play action possibly try and move Russell Wilson? Is it good for him to maybe try and move him over to the Bulldogs, who is sitting with Fields as well? Or is it something of interest for play action to get Fields from him? I don't know what kind of situation it's going to lead into, because he's not, you're looking at play action as an older squad, not a lot of young assets. But I'm sure there could be something in there that would make sense for both teams, whether or not or which way that QB could go. I mean, Bulldogs also loaded with draft picks. The other one that he's got is Daniel Jones, projected as starter for next year, but also the Giants are projected at drafting another quarterback. It doesn't mean that his year is 100% safe. So this is where play action kind of gets a little bit of a shot against on their ranking, because right now you're sitting with 100% a guy like Lamar is going to be starting. But after that, you're looking at two dudes that, like, I mean, we don't know by week 4 to 6, and even after that, one more injury to either of them, you could be into quite a situation. And if you're looking at a team that, as well, I mean, we go draft pick wise, play action sitting there at 10. They don't have the big facilities on that in case something comes around. You know, you could be in some big trouble there. I mean, I'm thinking right now that they've got draft pick, what are we looking at here? 309, I'm pretty sure, for this year. Be lucky to get Joe Milton third. So something needs to be addressed right there. We're going to have to, I guess, just see how each team goes ahead with this. Again, each of these websites are very different on it. Where my opinions come from is just a base off of everyone. I try to collect off of each of these sites, all these different podcasts, all these different YouTubes, just to kind of collect and give feedback for. That's what kind of the point is of this. So, how will the most important position be addressed? To see. And as a little sneak peek again, to maybe give a bit of an idea, will we see some quarterbacks fall if we go by any way that these guys are saying? I mean, we're only seeing, 2 quarterbacks selected? Just showing again how important the position is for wide receiver in a 0.5. Will this help out other teams like play action? Be able to select a quarterback later on? Will this change up just the order of how things go? Maybe TDs takes a risk and decides to go Marvin Harrison Jr. at that number 1. And there goes Caleb. Is Mr. Pink Wallet, Pink Nails, Pink Lipstick worth it for the Bulldogs to take a grab at? It'll be something that we won't be able to know really until draft day, or maybe until other moves are done. Going through this, I just wanted to kind of show you guys as well quickly these different charts, just kind of showing off the position for quarterback and how detrimental it would be to have an elite one. So we're kind of showing on this one here the hit rates by draft round. It's just kind of showing you what round they're selected in and what they're kind of performing with point per game. There's also 4 points per TD. I think we're at 6. So it is showing if you are selecting, it's going to be first or second round. And the first round quarterback is going to be the one, obviously, that's going to have more points up there. Big whoop. Now we're looking at age-wise here. And again, you're not going to win with a 23-year-old team. But when it comes down to quarterback, this is the age for them. A wide receiver can kill it off here too, maybe even a running back, right? Maybe. But once I feel like this range right here, having a good mix of all of these bars here, these 6, that's where you end up pulling off a team that's going to be a championship level team. That's what Josh Kosh was last year, championship level team. And he did not go out there with the young guns. If you want to go and look at him here, and I'll just do a comparison. I have to pick 2 fucking teams on here, so we'll do a comparison on here. Like, you're talking like a Watson's 28. Allen ain't a young dog no more. He's 27. You come over here, Jahmyr Gibbs maybe 21, but Stevenson and Pollard are not. Aaron Jones 30. Wide receivers, Stephon Diggs 30, Cooper's 30, McLaurin 28, 27 here with Samuel, but then DK, 25. You got to have that solid mix. Kelsey's 34 now. Old ass fucking fossil. So you got to have that proper mix. The other piece I wanted to kind of show off as well is that we get very worried with age. So this right here is kind of the quarterback decline chart. We've got guys and rankings on here that are worried because the quarterback's like 30. That's fine. 35, we're kind of getting up there. You can see they got a big one on 34. I feel like 35 plus is kind of where it's at now. If you start getting a quarterback up around there, you might be fossiling it a little bit. But they can still perform. You still get the odd ones that does. But it's just keep an eye out for those dudes that are 35. Like, right here, like you see most quarterbacks decline occur between 34 and 39. 71% of the sample size. It's a lot, but we're just starting into this league. We're gonna have to see, I guess, how each GM approaches each position, because we're kind of all mixed right now, especially after the draft. A lot of trades have happened. Who doesn't love a good trade, right? You like that, Cam? But yeah, this is kind of what my plan will be then, kind of going over for the future of a couple of these podcasts, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how many people actually bother to take a bit of a listen into it, but it's to give my insight. A lot of people do come over here to try and get some of it. This is to kind of give a little bit more. So, and then to make some people happy, here I am ranked 12th, and it's because I've got 0 draft picks. Brutal. But anyways, thank you if you listened. I hope this will kind of give a little bit of an idea of mainly those 4 teams of QB hungry, a little bit of the other ones. The next one we'll try and focus on the other 3 positions, and hopefully I'm not make it too long. I know Bartlett and Owens can't be changing diapers. Listen to this thing for 45 minutes. So thank you, lads, and we'll definitely have some more updates before then. Ciao, ciao.